coming, Checkwits? This is the Caged Review, and I'm going to review WWE Raw for May 14th, 2018. And I don't know that this deserves to be Raw anymore. It should be like Overcooked, super well done. Because there's nothing raw about it. There's no rough edges to the show anymore. There's nothing really dramatic. So, that's my first thought from this show. You open up with this bit that I went on a rant about in another post, discussing how Nia Jax is challenging Ronda Rousey on the red carpet of NBC Universal to a championship match at Money in the Bank. I think it's a stupid fucking booking decision. I think it's a waste of time, a waste of talent. I think it's doing everything wrong with Ronda Rousey. You're putting her up there against literally the worst wrestler in the women's division for the Raw roster. Possibly in the company. It goes back and forth between Nia Jax and Carmella. And there's been zero build up. And it's just fucking pointless. I think it's terrible how they had Charlotte Flair go clean over Asuka. Then you had Carmella go clean over Charlotte at Backlash, which says that Carmella is better than Charlotte Flair and Asuka, which is wholly unbelievable. And she sucks in the ring to begin with. So, the answer to having an undefeated an undefeated Asuka going up against Ronda Rousey at the following WrestleMania is Ronda Rousey going up against fucking Nia Jax, who can barely fucking work at all at a who gives a fuck pay-per-view? This is the stupidest booking bullshit that has gotten WWE in such heat with the fans to begin with. It's lazy. It's trying to capitalize on Ronda Rousey because you're afraid that nobody's gonna fucking tune into your next pay-per-view. It's stupid. And here's another side note to this. As you can see, I've got two rants back to back before I even really start talking about the show. You have two women's champions that you can't fucking put on TV because they are getting literally booed out of every fucking building they walk into. Nia Jax at Backlash did a fucking public service announcement, fucking promo, talking about, oh, it's fine to just be yourself, and the crowd booed her the whole time. And she's the face. Literally booed her out of the building, and then they booed the hell out of Carmella. They didn't have her on last week. When you're making stupid decisions like this, the crowd is going to let you know now. Especially the crowd that is putting money into the product. The people that are buying to put their asses in seats. They're going to let you know when you're fucking up nowadays. And believe me, you're fucking up. Bad. Okay, so with that out of the way, you start with Roman Reigns. Now, Roman Reigns gets a lot of heat. I don't think he's quite as bad as everybody makes out. And I'm not going to be somebody who just follows the pack. I say a lot of things that a lot of the fans agree with. And that's cool. But I'm not going to follow the pack just because everybody else is booing, I'm going to boo. It's not how I work. I have my own opinions. I'm a man. So Roman Reigns, I don't think he's quite as bad as everybody gives him shit for. He opens up the show. He does need to work on his promos. Big time. But he's saying that Jinder Mahal cost him a shot at the Money in the Bank. And he wants Jinder Mahal now. Kurt Angle comes down, says that's not going to happen. Management doesn't want it to happen. Management says he's not going to get another title shot, or a Money in the Bank shot, rather. And Kurt Angle's like, I hope you're not mad at me. And Roman's like, I'm not mad at you. I get it. I understand. You're in a position. And he knows who's behind it, basically. So he goes backstage looking for Jinder Mahal, finds him. Fight ensues backstage. Jinder looks like he's got the upper hand at first. He throws Samil Singh in front of him. And doesn't take too long for Roman Reigns to turn the tide and just starts the beatdown on Jinder Mahal. So they got this angle kind of through the whole show where Jinder Mahal is hurt. Can't compete in the Money in the Bank match. And it kind of grows. So, as far as the opening in-ring segment, I don't think it was terrible. There's kind of a storyline there where you've got Jinder Mahal screwing Roman Reigns last week, and now this week Roman Reigns is kind of continuing the storyline a little bit. The unfortunate thing is that they're really, the storyline here that's really being continued is Roman Reigns getting screwed over by the corporate entities in the company. And that's really hurting Roman Reigns because nobody believes that shit. We're all smart enough to know that there's not really, somebody holding him down. And it seems like he's still getting the push even though he's being held back. They're still pushing him as a top guy. And they're doing Roman Reigns a lot of disservice by not relenting on this shit. They are creating the perfect fuck up, is what they're doing. Because the crowd is going to turn against him every fucking step of the way now. And for some reason, WWE will not relent. And that's one of the biggest problems with WWE is they're so focused on doing what they want to do with their character that they're not hearing what the fans want to hear. Or they're not hearing what the fans say. And it becomes this thing where the crowd is just determined to let WWE know no matter how hard you push this guy, we're not going to take him as a lead role. And it's backfired on WWE many times, and their product has really suffered for that. The first actual match of the night was really, really good. Really good. It was Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental Championship. And I have to say, great, great match. It really was. It was everything that you would want a championship match to be. And since Brock Lesnar is not really around, and they can't show the women's champion because she gets booed out of the building, the Intercontinental Championship is really the only title belt that's being defended on Raw right now. It's the only title belt they have on Raw that they're willing to put the guy with the title on TV, which is a really sad state of affairs. So, overall, really, really good match. Some really good spots. I forget the move. It's like the inverted slam. But Seth Rollins does that on the ring apron. Oh, damn, that looked fucking painful. And that's one good thing about these two guys is they can sell really well. And they're not afraid to take some hellacious bumps. Seth Rollins does a frog splash that catches Kevin Owens' knees and it was turned into an instant roll-up. The end of the match, Kevin Owens was outside trying to get back in, and Seth Rollins meets him with a curb stomp as he's getting in, and then Kevin Owens rolls in, and Seth Rollins picks up the win. Really good match. Really good spots all the way throughout this match. Really good energy all the way throughout this match. You really can't complain about this at all. A very, very good way to start the show as far as in-ring work. So, very happy to see that. After the match, you get another segment about Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey. It's the second out of like 4 fucking times they go back to this during the show. So not only are you making a bad booking decision, but you're fucking boring us to death with rehashing it. Yeah, I don't fucking understand WWE at all. So it just shows Ronda Rousey on the red carpet of this NBC Universal event. She's talking to Charlotte Flair. Nia Jax comes up, challenges her, which really makes no sense. There is no reason that Nia Jax would challenge her at this point. There's really not. She's had one fucking match. It doesn't make any, like, literally makes no sense. It's irritating. Backstage, you get a segment with Kurt Angle, with Bo Dallas and Kurt Axel. They're trying to get another tag team championship title shot. Kurt Angle says, you haven't won a single match since you guys have been here. And then they're like, yeah, but we finally found our niche and we're calling ourselves the A-team. He's like, you can't use the A-team. They're like, fine, we'll be the B-team. And that's what sticks. So Kurt Angle says he's going to give him a match later. After that, you get No Way Jose versus Baron Corbin versus Bobby Roode, Money in the Bank qualifier match. I don't know, decent match. At the end, Baron Corbin, I don't know what happened to him, but he was outside. No Way Jose goes for his finisher. Bobby Roode turns it around, hits his finisher, wins the match. So Bobby Roode is now in the Money in the Bank match. So, I don't know. I mean, Bobby Roode, he's over 40. He's in damn good shape. But it'll be really interesting to see how well he fares in a Money in the Bank match, because I don't think I've ever seen him in a ladder match. Then you got backstage, Kurt Angle and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is like, you saw what happened, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to call Stephanie. And Kurt Angle's like, I'm really tired of you threatening me. And Owens is like, it's not a threat. I'm going to go call her right now. And then Angle walks through a door to see how Mahal is doing. And Mahal's like, I need this match postponed. And Kurt Angle's like, this is the only night you get a chance to do this. So if you're hurt, you're just going to have to go out and fight hurt. Then you get Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel versus Breezango, which actually wasn't a bad match. It wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. And I think it's because Breezango has been such a caricature act lately. You know, they're comic relief and haven't been taken seriously, and they have that goofy shtick that they do, which can be funny, but in the ring, sometimes it falls flat. Although other times it can be very funny. And Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel I have not been impressed with, honestly. So, it wasn't terrible. I certainly wasn't anything to remember. And the biggest part here is that Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel finally get their first win on Raw. And they're all making the point that since they just branded their team the B team, they're undefeated. 1 win, no losses. I don't know. Like, I don't feel like that's really going to go anywhere, so I don't think that I care. I'm pretty sure they're going to be buried soon enough. So then you get Sasha Banks, Natalya, and Ember Moon versus Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. Decent match. I think the weak link in this match was Sarah Logan. That she was very clunky in the ring and just missed some spots. So, other than that, it was a decent match, and Natalya gets the sharpshooter victory when she puts Liv Morgan in it. And Liv Morgan has a lot of really cool attitude. She reminds me of a different version of Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss has got a lot of charisma, a lot of personality, and I think Liv Morgan brings that. And I think when it's her time to shine, as a solo competitor, it'll really show. So Sasha Banks and Talia Ember Moon get the win, and the next match is Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy versus the Revival, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. And I do kind of like how the Revival are kind of a throwback team in a lot of ways. And I really felt that tonight. They did a really good job targeting, a knee, which is a pretty standard thing in wrestling matches. But, the old school wrapping the legs up in the ropes and then that little leg bar when the guy's on the ground. And some old cool standard shit that I really did like, actually. At the end, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt pick up the win. Of course, you knew what they were going to. You saw Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas taking notes backstage. So they're trying to build that up, I guess. And then after that, you get a promo from Sami Zayn in the ring talking about Bobby Lashley and his sister's promo last week. And apparently Sami Zayn is going to bring the three sisters in next week to expose some truths about Bobby Lashley. Maybe this is something they were building toward. Either way, the promo last week with the sisters was absolutely horrid. It was terrible in every way a promo could be. The writing sucked. The delivery was just weird. WWE killing a character at its finest. So after that, you get the next Money in the Bank qualifier match, which is going to be Bayley, Alexa Bliss, and Mickie James. This match could have been a lot better than it was, and I actually made the comment on Twitter that I thought this was going to be one of the top 3 matches of the night before I saw it, because I'm just like, you know what? How could it not be? Well, I'll tell you how it could not be. They had the stupid writing, instead of having a match that Alexa Bliss and Mickie James were going to be friends, but they used it too damn much, and they spent too much time with the whole, are they going to backstab each other or not, instead of having a wrestling match. And while I absolutely love Alexa Bliss, there's only so far you can go with this dynamic, and I think it hurt the match in a big way. It wasn't a terrible match, but because of the whole shtick that they were trying to do, it wasn't a great match either. Alexa Bliss comes up with a win on Bayley, and so she is going into the women's Money in the Bank match. After that, you get a backstage bit with Jinder Mahal with the trainer. Trainer's got him wrapped up. He says, as long as you can deal with the pain, you're clear for the match. Jinder's like, all right, I'm ready to go. He's holding his ribs. He's acting like he's in pain. And then out of nowhere, Roman Reigns, you don't see him at all until you catch the spear that sends Jinder Mahal through a wall, which was really good, honestly. I really like how they did it because it caught you off guard. It was like you see Jinder Mahal and the camera's kind of close up on him. He's holding his ribs, and out of nowhere comes this spear that sends him through the wall, and you're like, oh, about that. So I actually like how that was done. So Reigns basically takes Jinder Mahal out of the triple threat match at the end of the night at that point. After that, you have Braun Strowman and Finn Balor versus Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. There are things I liked about this match. There's one thing that I wish they would have done a little differently, but that's just personal choice. Finn Balor, Braun Strowman obviously being the fucking big man on campus. and then Drew McIntyre kind of sizes up Braun Strowman in the ring, and it looks like you're gonna have this like ultimate clash of titans. Because Drew McIntyre is kind of a big boy now, to be very honest. Definitely not Braun Strowman big, but a big boy nonetheless. Pretty good match throughout. Dolph Ziggler, I think, did a much better job than usual. And they kept Braun Strowman out for the majority of the match. And it kind of came down to, at the end, Drew McIntyre had tripped up Finn Balor when he was running to the ropes. Braun Strowman comes over, does the shoulder tackle to Drew McIntyre outside the ring, sends Drew McIntyre flying, tips one of the trophies over and breaks it. That was a big oops. And then Dolph Ziggler wraps up Finn Balor for the win. So Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler pick up the win. The only thing I would have liked here is to have made them have Drew McIntyre a little bit more of a beast when it comes to Braun Strowman, like actually get some licks in on him. Because they still made Braun Strowman look strong, and they gave Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler the win, so I like both of those. I think they're both necessary. But I would have liked to have seen Drew McIntyre look a little bit stronger. He's just coming in. He's got a hell of a physique. He's like 6'7", whatever the fuck it is. He's a big dude. So I would have liked to have seen that. But otherwise, no complaints. And then the last match of the night, you get Bobby Lashley versus Elias. Triple threat for the Money in the Bank qualifier, and you're waiting to figure out who the last guy is. And it's Kevin Owens, which is, of course, Stephanie McMahon's choice. So, still building up the Kurt Angle authority bit. Still working on Kevin Owens being one of the chosen from the authority. Roman Reigns being the guy that they're shitting on. Bobby Lashley just kept getting booed. When I said that fucking promo last week was going to kill his character, this has only proved it right. He did not get any love from the crowd. That promo fucking killed his character immediately. And I even said that if I was Bobby Lashley and they had told me to cut that promo, I would have said, fuck no. Absolutely not. Unfortunately, Bobby Lashley didn't say that, and now he's going to have to fight his way up, to getting the crowd's respect again, because that promo killed him. It just fucking killed him. So, promos aside, match was decent, nothing memorable. Kevin Owens picks up the win at the end. He is now in the Money in the Bank match. Which, honestly, I would much rather have Kevin Owens in the Money in the Bank match than just about anybody, because I've seen him in Money in the Bank ladder matches, and he is not afraid to put his body on the line. He does some insane shit. So, I'm very happy with that end result. So, I mean, Kevin Owens above Elias and Bobby Lashley, I think that's a good choice. I really didn't like the whole Nia Jax Ronda Rousey bit, and I didn't like them keep going back to it every fucking half hour. The backstage beatdown with Jinder Mahal and Roman Reigns, I thought was kind of a good angle. Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, really good match. The first Money in the Bank match, I don't know that I really cared. It was kind of the mid-carders, and Bobby Roode takes the win, thankfully. I don't know that I would care to see Baron Corbin or No Way Jose in it. So, some good segments, especially with Angle and Owens. That was decent a couple of times during the show. I don't know that this show had any really big standouts for me. It had a couple of cool moments, though. Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler over Braun Strowman. I did really like that, and I like that they still had Strowman look good. They're keeping with storylines that tie into the next pay-per-view for the most part. Not completely, but for the most part. So, I mean, I was entertained enough to like the show. And I'm debating, is it a 5 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10? And I think I'm actually going to give this a 6 out of 10 just because I think they're doing a good job of building a couple people up, namely Ziggler and McIntyre. I think they made the right choices with the matches. Bobby Roode and Kevin Owens going away with the wins. And I like the fact that they gave Natalya the win in the 6-woman tag match. Because let's face it, Natalya, she's been there for like 10 fucking years plus. She's definitely the most experienced and one of the most technically sound wrestlers in the company, regardless, male or female. And I honestly don't know that she gets quite enough love for as damn good as she is. So I was happy to see that too. So I think I'll stick with a 6 out of 10 for Monday Night Raw, May 14th, 2018. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you enjoyed the review, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackwitz. Cage Nation out.